1 minute. I guess we'll. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the AFC South Roundtable presented by Roundtable Sports. What's going on? This is the very first episode for the AFC South Roundtable. I'm so excited to be the host here to kick this show off, man. All I want to say is we got four guys that are on fire. They do just an amazing job in their own prospective platforms. Man, we're about to bring them in just a second. But before we do, remember, make sure to subscribe to AFC South Roundtable. If you like, you can subscribe to all the NFL Roundtables because Roundtable Sports has kicked off on and popping, ladies and gentlemen. Bigger things to come. Make sure you stay tuned. But without further ado, we got a lot to talk about in the South. The AFC is loaded with great competition, but all I'm going to say is these four teams have been at war for the last few years, on and off, going at each other's neck. To start it out, ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the division, Jacksonville Jaguars, 7-3, UCF Jaguars.
Hey, let's get it, Duval. Hey, man, so good to be here representing the Jaguars in the AFC South Roundtable, man. We're back. We're going to go back-to-back AFC South division titles. Woo! I feel bad for the other people on here because this is our division. And as long as we have Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, we're going to keep running this thing while the other ones just try to fight for second place. But good to be here. Go Jags.
Man, welcome UCF Jaguar. We're happy to have you here, man. You've been doing some great work on your individual platform, but I'm gonna start early, okay? You know, you said you're about to take the division a second time in a row, but there's somebody I got backstage about to come on representing the Houston Texans that would disagree at 6-4. Ruben
H-Town. Till we drown. I don't want to hear nothing that UCF Jaguar is saying. The Houston Texans right now are shocking the world. You have the leading candidate for Coach of the Year in DeMeco Ryans, the leading candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud. You also have someone who is battling him for that, Tank Dell, who has emerged as the Houston Texans wide receiver. We smacked Jacksonville earlier in the season, 37-17. This division is coming back to H-Town.
Wow, man, UCF Jaguars say they taking it. Ruben said it's coming to H-Town, but hold up. We got 5-5 in the house. Don't count them out. They're right on your trails. The Indianapolis Colts, 5-5. Let's hear it for Derek Lager.
What's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, listen, these guys can say whatever they want, man. Colt's been running this show for the longest time. They're just taking a little bit of a back seat right now, okay? But I promise you that here coming later on, Shane Steichen has this team ready to go. Dark horse candidate for Coach of the Year as well, even without his star quarterback in Anthony Richardson, still getting the job done, still winning games, still staying competitive in this division. And I'm telling you right now, we are coming. We are not going anywhere.
Wow, what a competitive division. You got the UCF Jaguar representing the Jags. You got Ruben representing the Houston Texans. You got Derek representing the Indianapolis Colts. Listen, man, we're going to take it a little easy now. We don't have to be mean to the bottom dweller, but they are building something special over there in Tennessee. Tennessee Titans at 3-7 in rebuild mode. Titan Rossi, what's up, man?
I was waiting to see what my intro was going to be, and I was like, golly, man. I don't know, man. Are we building? I hope so. I don't know if Will Levis is the answer yet. I like what I see from him. You know, the Tennessee Titans, honestly, right now are one big dumpster fire. there was a video, a presser from Mike Vrabel yesterday that everybody's been tweeting out. And he basically said, well, we got out coached. They're a better coach team, talking about the Jaguars. And it's like, dude, like, how can you just sit there and say that? Like, I mean, I get it. You're like trying to be honest or whatever, but it's like, dude, you're just sitting there basically downing yourself and making the organization look bad. And people are pretty on fire about it. And, we got the Panthers this Sunday at home. We're actually 3-0 at home. We're undefeated at home, believe it or not. But if we lose this game, and I'm sure you'll ask me about that, I think Vrabel could really be on the hot seat, or at least some of the assistants.
Rossi, hey, listen, I know a thing or two about a coach who says that we got out coached. Our last coach in Frank Reich. We saw what happened to him, man. About to happen to yours if he's saying that already. I'm just saying.
Man, we got leaders of the division all the way to the hot seats, ladies and gentlemen. So this is your AFC South roundtable. Make sure you go to the chat and let us know who you are representing. We put the poll up in the chat. What team in the division are you representing? Thank you so much for your participation, and let us know what you think in the chat. We might come to the chat and get some of your thoughts and see if these guys can react to them at some point in the show. All right, y'all, listen, let's go ahead and kick it off. This is the first episode. Listen, I've been dealing with you guys for about a week and a half now, just conversations in the chat. Y'all already been going at each other, throwing little slick little jabs. Let's start out, man. Let's get it starting. We're going to start out. We're going to keep it with you. Okay, Titan Rossi. Let's just dive right in. First and foremost, you just had a division game that just showed that you just played versus the Jaguars. You already mentioned it. Getting beat 34-13, man. Tell us what your thought about that game and that loss in general.
It's just every week it's starting to snowball. It's gotten worse and worse the past few weeks. The offensive line, they just can't find a combination that works. This is something that's been going on for the past 2 seasons now. The Titans had 2 off seasons to fix the left tackle position. They go and get Andre Dillard. They had Dennis Daly last year, who was absolutely terrible. I think he had given up the most sacks in the league at the position. And then Dillard, they pick up for, I think it was like $27 million for 3 years or something. And he's almost let up as many sacks as Daly and hasn't even played as many games as Daly. So Dillard's out with a concussion. They bring in Radens. He was absolutely atrocious the last couple weeks at left tackle. It's a major issue. The offense cannot get going. The left tackle position, in my opinion, other than the quarterback position in the NFL, left tackle is one of the most important positions on an NFL roster. At least the starting left tackle. The Titans just don't have the offensive line to block for Derrick Henry. It's a shame because Henry is still a good running back. Is he a great, incredible Derrick Henry that he used to be? I don't think so, but I think he's still a top 5, top 6 running back. And you can't block for the guy. It's a shame.
Wow, tough times over in Tennessee. Well, hey, it ain't so tough in Jacksonville. Getting that victory, UCF Jaguar. What was your thoughts about that game, and what did it mean for your organization, and how do you view the Tennessee Titans at this point?
Look, I mean, the Jaguars needed the win. I mean, they went on the nice 5-game winning streak, then got the doors blown off of us by the 49ers. And, I think after the 49ers game, it wasn't only a loss, but Jaguar fans this season are kind of like, what's going on with this offense? Why aren't we scoring at will? Why aren't we getting all these yardage? Like, what's going on with Trevor Lawrence? But in that game, the big thing that happened was the Jaguars got Zay Jones back. The Jaguars actually like wide receiver 3. But for whatever reason, he really opens up the offense, especially for Calvin Ridley. I mean, if you look at Calvin Ridley's numbers when Zay Jones is on the field, he has over 100 yards in each of those games. I think he has like 3 total touchdowns. And games without him, I think it was like under 50 receiving yards combined. It's just he's a completely different player with Zay Jones on the field. And then now we're sitting there looking at it. Trevor Lawrence, empty backfield. You see Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and Zay Jones all lined up out there. And then you started feeling good. Trevor Lawrence accounted for 4 touchdowns, got 0 turnovers. Of course, it was against a not great team. I mean, the Titans, it feels good to be beating the Titans because the Jaguars have just had really bad history against them, really throughout our whole franchise's history. Swept them in 2022, including the Week 18 play-in game to the playoffs to win the AFC South, then demolished them at home. So we're looking to maybe hopefully sweep them again, but it was a much needed kind of get right game. And hopefully that's the game that kind of sparks our offense for the second half of the year to, maybe continue this train where the Jaguars can start putting up, 28 plus points per game.
Nice. I mean, it's a good victory to have, especially after that San Francisco game, like you said. I'm going to go over to you, to Ruben. What were your thoughts on that game between a division rival?
It's something that you obviously have to keep your mind at. And, this is the moment right now where the Houston Texans are fighting for the division on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. No one expected the Houston Texans to be here. But, man, we were supposed to be the worst team in the NFL. But we continue to stack wins against pretty good teams. The Jags, the Steelers, the Saints, going to Cincinnati, beating Joe Burrow. Right now, the Houston Texans are a Cinderella story. And what is something that not a lot of people are talking about is how much injuries this team has had. Against the Jacksonville Jaguars, we were without 3 to 4 of our starting offensive linemen. We've been without Jimmy Ward multiple weeks, but the Houston Texans still continue to prevail. And it is because of this rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud.
Nice. And what is your thoughts on the Titans Jags game?
Well, it was a game where Trevor Lawrence scared me. I mean, 2 touchdowns through the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground. It's nice to see them beat the Tennessee Titans, but it added more pressure to this game. We were thinking, maybe the Jags could lose this one. Maybe, after they get squashed by the 49ers, maybe they have another disappointing performance. But no, they definitely scared, some Houston Texans fans, and the pressure is on this Sunday.
Nice. And Ruben, at the end of the day, you all know that you have to go up against them next week, and to get that scouting opportunity. What's your biggest concern with the Jaguars, though?
Well, it's Trevor Lawrence. Like UCF Jaguar just said, when their full wide receiver core is on the field, I mean, you see each one of these guys can go off for 100 yards. Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, they have a very good tight end, Evan Ingram. The Texans secondary right now is without Jimmy Ward, their captain. And when he is not there, this secondary tends to give up big plays, give up big points. Right now, it's going to be, can this Houston Texans defense contain this Jacksonville Jaguars offense that was just on fire last week?
Got it. And Derek, let's get your thoughts on that Jaguar Titans game.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the same situation we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks. I mean, the Titans just are starting to fall apart layer by layer. You're seeing, from that first great game Will Levis had, has just continued to drop in production. And that's been the biggest issue so far. It felt like that first game, really kind of showed what Will Levis was about, right? That all they had was go to DeAndre Hopkins, figure it out there, and then just the rest of the game will go follow suit. But obviously, teams are starting to figure that out now. You can't go after Hopkins every single time, and you have to try to make other plays. And he looks like a rookie quarterback that's having difficulties. I know Rossi was talking about it earlier in the chat as well, that their offensive line's not great right now. Their guys are injured. I mean, you traded away Kevin Byard a few weeks ago, where he's now making a living in that Eagles secondary now rather than helping your team out. So, it's one of those situations where the Jags were the better coach team. They were the better talented team. And in that situation, the better team just won.
Well, since Derek just brought up Will Levis, Titan Rossi, real quick, is he the future? Do you believe in him? Do you think he's going to be as good as Trevor Lawrence or C.J. Stroud?
I know Derek thinks so.
Keep him, please.
Yeah, he loves Levis, but I don't know, man. It's hard to tell at this point, and one reason it's so hard to tell is because I hate to keep harping on it. It's one of the worst offensive lines I've seen in the 20 years since, or 23 years, 24 years since the Titans have been in Nashville, and I mean that. Even when we had the 3-13 teams a couple times, 2-14. It's just so bad. But I will say this, Will Levis has made some incredible throws. He seems like he kind of has a little bit of a veteran presence to him at times, where he'll stand in the top pocket and just take a shot and deliver a heck of a throw. Like Derek said, though, the issue is too, he doesn't really have much to work with. You got D-Hop. And look, the one positive thing about the Titans this year has been D-Hop. I mean, he's shown that he can still ball, that he can still play. He's still got a lot left in the tank. But he's really the only thing on the wide receiver core that we got going on. You still got NWI, who should be a 4th or 5th wide receiver. He should not be a starting wide receiver in this league. As much as I love NWI, Nick Westbrook-Akeen, and you got like Chris Moore, as Ruben, knows Chris Moore, and he's decent. He makes some plays, but none of these guys other than D-Hop are technically 1 or 2 receivers. All these receivers other than D-Hop would be 4th or 5th wide receivers on any other team.
Got it.
So it's hard to gauge. Like, he doesn't have a lot to work with, but at the same time, he's making some pretty decent plays here and there,
Well, UCF Jaguar, what about you? Your first impressions, having watched Will Levis right across from you guys, is this something? Do you think he could be a threat in the future in the division?
I mean, like you said, look, I watched Trevor Lawrence in his rookie year. I've seen what a checked out head coach with a group of receivers and a bad offensive line can do to a quarterback. I mean, there were people saying Mac Jones is better than Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson is better than Trevor Lawrence. That's how, bad it is when you have, a crew around them that really can't do much. So I think it's too early to tell. I mean, he has a body of work that can do some things. I mean, he's a big body dude. He can make that deep ball. But right now it's rough because I've never seen Mike Vrabel look the way he does. Usually he has that fire in his eye, and it just right now it's like he's checked out and he almost wants the Titans to just fire him. It's just really weird. With the post-game comments, it's basically saying that they had better coaching than us. We've heard coaches say we got out coached, but you never hear anybody say they had better coaching than us. What kind of statement is that? So yeah, right now the Titans are in a weird situation where I think they should have committed last offseason to kind of go through a little bit more of a rebuild. Maybe not a whole rebuild, maybe a retool, but they went out and gave some guys some money, signed D-Hop. It was just kind of a weird roster they constructed now. And then now they're in a situation where that might have set them back a little bit.
Got it. And Ruben, last thoughts on Will Levis.
I mean, I would agree with the, UCF Jaguar. It is too early to tell, but he has shown big playability. I mean, 4 touchdowns in his opening game, and also seeing former Houston Texan wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins have a big impact, man. It does hurt me. I wanted D-Hop to come back in the offseason, but it is too early to tell. Give him an offensive line. Put some weapons around him. There was a reason why a lot of people were talking about him to be an early first-round pick. He needs weapons, and he needs some time.
Got it. Let's go back to UCF Jaguar here. I want to get your thoughts on is Trevor Lawrence the best quarterback in the division right now?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question that he's the best quarterback. Look, the resume's the longest. I mean, he's the one guy that's actually gone out, won the AFC South, and won a playoff game. I mean, that's his resume right now. We can sit here. We can, the whole media can stroke, CJ Stroud and everything he's doing right now. But at the end of the day, what has he done so far? I mean, yeah, it's nice and it's cute, all different things that he's doing. The Cardinals win was very cute, where they ended the game, the second half, with a missed field goal, a punt, an interception. That's how they finished that game, and a very impressive win against the Cardinals. But look, this Sunday is going to be a big game for Trevor Lawrence to basically say, look, CJ Stroud, you're nice, and look, it's fun to have more quarterbacks in the AFC South, but it's probably going to be like a Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert situation where, look, you may have a couple good quarterbacks in the division, but Trevor Lawrence is going to run this.
Interesting. Well, I got to go back to Ruben on this one. So Trevor Lawrence, the best quarterback in the division, Ruben?
No, sir. It is the phenom rookie quarterback, CJ Stroud, who has overcame so much stuff his rookie year. And then I take you back to the people that we beat. I mean, he threw for almost 300 yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2 tutties. They had no answer for him in Tank Dell. What CJ Stroud has done, no one expected this. I mean, remember there was some conversations about him not being a smart quarterback with these S2 scores. Oh, wow, has he made those people look stupid? You talk about the wide receiving core for the Houston Texans. Right now, they look solid, but no one was talking about Nico Collins. No one was talking about Tank Dell. Tank Dell right now looks like the biggest steal in the draft, a 3rd-round selection. CJ Stroud, man, is the leader of this team, and the city is in love with him.
Man, listen, that's a tough one even for me. Let's go to Titan Rossi. Who you got in that matchup? Who's the best quarterback in the division right now? And if you think Will Levis, hey, let's hear
it. No, I'm just kidding. It's hard to tell. I mean, I just saw Trevor Lawrence play a really good game against us. I think Trevor Lawrence definitely has the ability to be. I mean, I think Lawrence has the ability to be a top 5, 6, 7 quarterback in the league. I mean. But CJ Stroud has looked incredible. I mean, I'll give it to you, Ruben. I mean, he's looked incredible. I mean, especially as a rookie. I mean, he's got to be breaking all types of records. And like you said, Tank Dell, Nico. But I like I said, I just saw what Trevor Lawrence did to us, which look, we're not a great team. We're not even a good team. So you can't really. I don't know how much you could put into it, but the guy made some pretty darn good plays, and I've seen him play well in the past. But I think it's going to come down to a dogfight between you guys and the Jags. Like, I think that's where it's come to. It's not the Titans-Jags anymore. It's the Houston Jags, and I feel like that's probably where it's going to be for the next couple years. And it's awesome that we have these type of quarterbacks in the AFC South now. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we're finally becoming a quarterback division with Stroud, Lawrence, possibly Levis, and we'll see where Anthony Richardson, where he pans out.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring up Anthony Richardson because Derek, they putting some disrespect on Richardson's name, man. Who's the best quarterback in the division? Let them know.
I'll get to that in a second. I will say that definitely Stroud has gotten off to a much better start than Lawrence did. But of course, what to expect with Lawrence. I mean, he came in with such a terrible spot that he was in with the coaching. The roster wasn't quite built the way it is now. So clearly he had a little bit more of a deficit from that perspective. From this perspective right now, I'll just say it. I mean, Trevor Lawrence this year has only thrown for 300 yards one time in a game. Just in CJ Stroud's last 3 games has thrown for 330 yards at least. And at minimum, on that one, he threw for 470 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, listen, I don't see Trevor Lawrence doing that. He puts up some amazing numbers.
He doesn't need
against the Indianapolis Colts. Fantastic, really awesome. But I'm seeing CJ Stroud already right off the bat just doing things that no quarterback in this division is doing right now. Clearly, Stroud has to throw the football a little bit more than Trevor Lawrence, so that impacts it a little bit. But, I mean, no doubt CJ Stroud right now is playing at the best level of anyone else. But I'm not going to let y'all just scoop by on
Derek, real quick question.
And I want, especially
your Colts
Rossi
team?
here,
Who's your
because
Colts
Rossi
team?
here wanted to, just almost forgot to mention Anthony Richardson's name right here. Bro, I want to tell y'all right now, he had 7 touchdowns in less than 12 quarters of football that he was playing. He practically only played in 9 and still had 7 touchdowns in 9 quarters. I don't care what y'all say about his injury. That's unfortunate. Things happen with the quarterbacks. You get injured sometimes. We've seen Josh Allen have this issue. We saw Matt Stafford have this issue. All these different things. At the end of the day, Anthony Richardson is going to have to continue to get better at protecting himself. That's the big thing. But no doubt, Anthony Richardson came in hotter than any quarterback in this entire division coming into it. Had more rushing touchdowns. If he was putting up numbers that no rookie quarterback was doing with his overall yardage and rushing and passing touchdowns, 7 touchdowns to only 2 turnovers in the first few quarters that he was playing. I don't care what y'all say right now. Obviously, it's between Stroud and Lawrence this year. But in 2024, I'm just telling y'all right now, we're going to forget about CJ Stroud here in a little bit. That it's going to be the division with Anthony.
Hey, Tyler, I was just
it's
checking
going to
in
be
with
taking
you.
over this division. I don't want to hear it.
Yo, Derek, real quick, who's your college team again?
Who's my college team?
Yeah.
Ohio State.
Oh, okay. So that's where the CJ Stroud stroke fest is coming from.
What are you talking about? I just gave you stats.
You cannot sit here and say,
stats.
look, we can throw out stats and everything, but look.
I love CJ Stroud, and I hate the fact that I have to go up against him 2 times a year now. I hate that. But at the same
Trevor
time,
Lawrence
man,
is
I
5-1.
I get it. Trevor Lawrence has had
games.
much worse games.
Look, Trevor hasn't had to throw out there all these crazy stats because they win by double digits without him.
There's just been so many. Like, bro, against the Chiefs, he had no touchdowns. Against the 49ers, no touchdowns. And there's been he hasn't even thrown for 3 touchdowns in a game. Bro, Stroud almost has the same number of touchdowns in one game as your quarterback does halfway through the whole season.
What's a good defense that Stroud has played against?
Are we not? Do I need to go back and I need to do that? I mean, he played the freaking Steelers. He threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Steelers. What are you talking about?
What people don't realize is that the offense for the Houston Texans, it has only been CJ Stroud. We have not got any help from this run game all year. The last 2 weeks have been the best we've ever seen. And it's not second-year running back Dameon Pierce. It was free agent acquisition Devin Singletary. This offense has worked because of CJ Stroud. He beat the Jacksonville Jaguars without a running game. Y'all had no answer for him. You had no answer for Tank Dell. We were without 3 to 4 offensive linemen. You sacked him 0 times. And Derek Stingley was not playing. Remember, last time Derek Stingley played against Trevor Lawrence, there was an INT in the red zone. He is back after having a career game against the Arizona Cardinals. There is no question CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in this division, and he is going to show it on Sunday in H-Town when the house is going to be rocking. I mean, what are we talking about here?
I am not going to let you disrespect Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz like that, dude. You cannot tell me these guys aren't playing like beasts. And it's all CJ Stroud thrown to nobody.
They weren't about our wide receiving core in the offseason.
Might be a thing, but
you just said they're not. You just said he's getting no help. You said CJ Stroud. You know who's getting no help? Bryce Young, who has the.
Oh, don't even get me started on Bryce Young. How many people said that
they have Frank Reich? That was the disaster from the very beginning.
Adam Thielen said, "I'm going over there to play Super Bowl. Get the fuck out of here." Get out of here. CJ Stroud.
They had a trash O-line, and that just goes to show you once again, like CJ Stroud has had just as bad of offensive line issues as Bryce Young has. He's had it worse. And he's still done more. I mean,
this is listen, man. Y'all got me going over here, man. This is heating up. I can't wait to preview the Jags Texans game. We're gonna get back
20-5 against the Jaguars. Like holy hell, bro. We own you guys. And you're coming to the H.
The last 10
years.
You're
coming to the H. 4-1 at home.
The only team we can somehow beat the last 10 years is the damn Colts at home,
buddy.
Oh man. Listen, man, I don't even want to switch gears. Listen, we're going to do this unorthodox. Y'all done got, I have to do it now. Y'all caused it, okay? Let's go ahead and get it out the way now, okay? We got a huge matchup this week. Let's just be honest. And honestly, isn't this going to determine who's number one in the division?
Yes, sir.
This is going to determine who's number one in the division.
Mhm.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have to travel on the road to the Houston Texans and play the biggest game of the division this year. And I think that this game is going to determine the division winner. So before I even go to Ruben, before I even go to UCF Jaguar, let's start with Titan Rossi. What are your thoughts on this game coming up between these two juggernauts in the division?
Is he muted?
You're muted.
Have to go with you, Ruben. It being at home in Houston, I'm gonna have to give them the win, man. I think CJ Stroud's gonna come out at home, like you said. The city's behind him. I think it's gonna be a battle, to the finish. And like I said, I mean, this is probably going to decide the division for sure. And I mean, I guess it could decide the division. I mean, it depends on how it plays out, both your teams and everything. I'm going to go with Houston on this one, man. I know UCF is not going to like that, but I'm going to have to go with Houston on this one, man. I think just because it's at home, the way the Texans are playing at home, the way CJ Stroud is playing, I don't know, man. They're hot right now.
What's your score prediction?
I'm going to say Houston, I don't really know, man. I'm going to say Houston 27, the Jags 24.
Houston 27, Jags 24. That's a tight one. Hey, let's do it. Derek, tell me your thoughts on this game and your score prediction at the end.
Don't worry, UCF. I got your back here on this one. Listen, I love what CJ Stroud has done, and I know I just had a moment where you and UCF and I had a little dispute there, but it's all good. I think the Jags are still the better team right now. And sometimes with these divisional games, it doesn't really matter who's hot and who's not. At the end of the day, it's a divisional game. Anything can happen. And I've seen what Jacksonville can do against a quarterback that had an off week the week prior to that. As good as CJ Stroud was the previous week, did come off of his most turnover-prone game. So I think that this is a situation where, there's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of things going on. I know that the Jaguars typically in this situation would have the most pressure. But I think in this situation, there is the most pressure for the Texans to want to deliver for their home crowd. And I think that they're going to have a situation where it's going to be tough for them to overcome. I think that still the Jags are the better team overall. I think they're going to rewrite the wrong from the previous week. I say 31-20 Jags.
Wow.
Ooh, man.
Double
So
digits.
listen, before I go to you two, because I know you got a lot to say, y'all got me thinking here. I got a question to ask. And I want to start out with Derek. Which team do you hate the most in this division?
Who do I hate the most? I mean, I think that for me specifically, I have to go with the Titans fan base. There's just nothing more infuriating than dealing with a Titans fan. I mean, listen, Jags fans, it's one thing. The only thing I hate about the Jags is the fact that we can't win every single dang year when it comes to playing them in Jacksonville. That's the only thing I hate about them. Texans fans, I haven't really interacted with a ton of them over the years, but I mean, like outside of that, the Titans ones are always the ones that always be showing up when it's time for Indy to play Tennessee. They always got to show up and they always keep talking this nonsense. And as if Andrew Luck isn't their daddy. Like that's it. Like that's all I got to talk about every single time. That's all I got to bring up. And it shuts them up right there and then. So it's got to be the Titans.
Titan Rossi, most hated team in the division.
Honestly, for me, and I think it's mutual between the Jaguars and the Colts. And honestly, the way you feel about us, Derek, I feel about Jaguars fans. Like, and it's not because, to me, I mean, the Jaguars just started really doing well again last year. So, you know, they come out of the woodwork, and my Twitter is inundated with Jaguars fans. Like, I have Jaguars fans that are like on our show on the network. They watch every show, and shout out to them, you know what I mean? But they'll come on there just to talk trash to us on a Titans podcast. Like, they represent
Jags fans do the same to me,
you know?
because of this
And-
dude up here.
And dude, that freaking Duval, God, I cannot stand that Duval. That is the worst
Is it that
thing. That is the worst chant. I cannot stand it. But honestly, like, the Colts fans don't bother me as much. Like, you don't really see them pop up as much. Now, you know, it might be different for other content creators and Titans fans out there. But don't get me wrong, I hate the Colts just as much, you know, but I hated them a lot more when they had Andrew Luck. And you know, I mean,
well,
dude, it's a mutual though, dude. It's mutual.
Well, fair warning to all four of you guys before I go to the two top guys. Listen, being on the AFC South Roundtable, it's going to get 10 times worse. You're going to have a lot more subscribers coming to you from other fan bases just to tell you how wrong or right you are and to troll you. So that's one result of being a part of Roundtable Sports. All right, listen, let's get into it. Ruben, UCF. I want to give you all the floor real quick. I want to start out. First of all, I still got to get my answer here. Ruben, who do you hate the most?
I mean, the Titans. How dare they wear that love you blue uniform? I mean, you know how much the city of Houston love the Oilers? Even our cop cars wore baby love you blue. And just for them to bring that back and them to wear it, like it is blasphemy. And I like the owner saying, like, oh, it has nothing to do with Houston. Absolutely not. It is petty. How dare they? It pained me to see DeAndre Hopkins in that uniform, and I cannot wait to beat the hell out of the Titans when they wear it.
UCF Jag, who do you hate the most?
Well, I think I speak for the whole entire Jaguar fan base, which, by the way, 50% of the chat right now is Jaguar fans according to the poll. So I appreciate you guys for showing out. I'll speak for all of us when I say the Titans are our most hated fan base.
Man, everybody, what's up with
Everybody,
the Titans?
listen, I mean,
It's rough for a Titans fan, man. I'm
it's
telling you.
struggling, man.
Have you ever seen a Titans fan in a while?
Got to take it, all right?
Man, I'm shocked. I'm thinking it's going to be the top of the division with the Jags and things like that.
I'm quite
Man.
surprised that UCF did not say Indy, because, like, for the team that has
I
controlled
am
the
too.
division for so many years to not get the most hate, at least from a fan base perspective, I don't know. It's quite
Hey, the
crazy.
Colts are a free home win for us. I don't have any hate for you guys.
Oh, man.
Someday it'll change, sir. Someday.
All right, I'm sorry, y'all, for sidetracking to find that out. Is something that I definitely needed to know. All right, it's wartime, man. We got to get into this head-to-head matchup between UCF Jaguar and Ruben. Listen, you both have the right to poke your chests out. You both have the right to be proud. Not to disrespect the Houston Texans, but as we stand right now, the Jaguars are the top dogs in the division running the show. But I'm not gonna sit here and make it seem like the Houston Texans haven't been phenomenal as of late. I mean, what they've been able to do has just been spectacular. A lot of people will have eyes on this game because they want to know if this is a fad or is it real. You know, and I think that this game will ultimately determine that for both teams, because if the Texans win this game, the Jaguars fan base will be down. The Jaguars fans base will be questioning, can they even win a division and are they real contenders? And if the Jaguars win this game, the same thing with the Texans. Oh, well, we're second fiddle. We're getting better. Maybe next year, next time. So without further ado, Ruben, I want to start with you. Tell me what I need to know about this game and who's going to win and what the final score prediction is going to be.
You know, just to give the Jaguars some credit, I do think it is going to be a close game. despite what happened in the first matchup between them. The Texans and Jaguars right now are playing for the AFC South. And like the Jaguars, the Texans have something to prove. Right now, they are the Cinderella story of the NFL. And you said that this game is, if you win, you are for real. Well, it's been like that almost every game for the Houston Texans. We weren't supposed to beat Jacksonville. We weren't supposed to beat Pittsburgh. We weren't supposed to walk in as Cincinnati and beat Joe Burrow. And the reason why we have done that is because of CJ Stroud. And we just showed against the Arizona Cardinals that despite 3 turnovers for him, we could still grind out wins. The defense shut down the Arizona Cardinals in the second half, and you get back Dameon Pierce. You get back Noah Brown against the Buccaneers, against the Bengals, 150 yards game apiece. This Houston Texans team is getting healthier, and they are going to be dangerous. But this is going to be the first time I think H-Town is packed to 100%. I think J.J. Watt is also in the city. I know he is going to make an appearance. This is the biggest game in the past 3 years. But even though the pressure is all on Jacksonville, because like you mentioned, if they lose this game, can we even win the division? The Houston Texans are not supposed to be here, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I feel confident against every single team I am going against, because we also showed you no lead is safe. Come back win against the Buccaneers. Come back win against the Bengals. I am loving CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Man, UCF, what do you got to say about that?
No, yeah, and I mean, a lot of respect for the Houston Texans. Obviously, they are like the true Cinderella story of the NFL right now. And look, they've been winning games. I know, they've been close wins. They all haven't been like, big blowouts by any means. But, there is a certain thing to actually like being able to close out a victory and win them. I know the Jaguars last year started off like, I think it was like 2-6 or something like that. And all the losses were by single digit points, were by one possession scores. So, being able to flip it and be on the, positive end of things at the end of the game, I mean, it's a tough thing to do, and a lot of respect for that. But I do got to say, I do disagree with your feeling that like the Texans feel like they're not supposed to be there, and that like they don't think that they, like, I guarantee you maybe the fans feel like that, but the players 100% think that they're the best team in the AFC South, and they 100% have the pressure on them to say, hey, there's less pressure for them right now because the Texans are right now a game behind the Jaguars. If they all of a sudden lose this game, they're 2 games back at the Jaguars, then the AFC South title is very, very much in doubt. If the Jaguars lose this, the records are tied, and then, you kind of duke it out with the end of the schedule where there's going to be 6 or 7 games left. So I kind of disagree with you on that, but yeah, and CJ Stroud, he's definitely arrived. He's going to be, a force to reckon with in the AFC South for, years and years to come. And look, at one point it's like, dang, I wish all the quarterbacks were bad, but at the same time, man, the AFC South needs these quarterback matchups, to be here. And, it feels like it's finally here. We hope that, for the next 15 years, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence versus CJ Stroud, and these two guys duke it out against each other, but with this one, look, the Jaguars, Evan Ingram said it the other day after they lost to the 49ers and after the win against the Titans. They said that we play our best when our backs are against the wall. And we've seen the Jaguars be battle tested. When they were down 1-2 after a blowout against the Houston Texans, they went out and went on a 5-game winning streak. When they got blown out by the 49ers and everybody's questioning the whole entire Jaguars organization, they go out and defeat the Titans. You even go back last year, the Jaguars were 2-6, turned it around, won the AFC South. So yeah, the Jaguars with this one, I think that we're just a little bit more experienced in these kind of games than the Houston Texans are with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. And I do think that the Jaguars edge them out. I'm going to say the Jaguars win this one 24-20.
Wow. 24-20. Hey, Ruben, did I get your score prediction?
I am going to go 24-21, and I'm just going to add some drama on it. It is a CJ Stroud game-winning drive.
Wow. CJ Stroud game-winning drive. I'm going to say this. I can't wait till next week's roundtable.
Oh, I know.
Because
we're going to be victory lapping.
I mean, I said it in the group chat this last week. The ultimate winner was me because I just got to sit back and chill and watch all of you suffer. through the week. So,
Well, I mean, let's get into that though. Speaking of the Colts, at the end of the day, you only have 5 losses. You're not out of it. Whoever loses this game, ends up only having a 1-game separation with you. You got the Bucks coming up, at home. First off, I want to just quickly talk about the Patriots game. You beat them 10-6. Now, no disrespect, but a lot of people are saying that was a snooze fest. What were your thoughts on that game?
They would be right. They would be right. I almost kind of wanted to go back to bed versus having to stream that game that at 9:30 in the morning. The ultimate issue is Indy has kind of flip-flopped from what it has been doing well versus what it's now doing. The defense has played exceptionally well over the last few weeks. Of course, you're facing trash offenses. You played Carolina, you played New England, and you played some of the worst offenses in all of football right now. But, the defense has been doing its job. I mean, they've literally given up only 19 points in the last 2 weeks to those offenses and have scored more points defensively than what they've allowed the offenses to do. So, I mean, that's incredible to see. But, of course, with that, the offense has just not figured it out. And it's mainly just been because of Gardner Minshew. He's just not been finding guys. He's just not been throwing the ball well. He's been leaving the pocket when he doesn't have to. And this Patriots game was all the same. I mean, he was running around scared when he didn't have to be. And most of the time he had a clean pocket and he just looked like as if he was seeing a ghost. He's like doing his best Sam Darnold impression. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I hope that the Colts can, after this bye, be able to get the offense a little bit back on track because, guys are starting to figure it out. Guys are open. Guys are making plays, blocking really well, running the football okay. This offense should not be as bad as it is right now, and I hope they can figure it out.
Awesome, man. Titan Rossi, what were your thoughts on that Patriots game versus the Colts?
I mean, it reminded me of watching a Titans game this season, like watching paint dry, But yeah, I mean, is Anthony Richardson coming back this week?
No, I've know people have been saying that there's a chance if the Colts make the playoffs, but no. I think the total plan was it's going to be at least 4 to 5 months of rehab.
Okay. Oh, so he's pretty much okay.
So,
done.
Yeah, he's all good with the shoulder now, but they said he's got a while to go before he can start throwing for real.
I know when Minshew came in against us, I was at the Colts game. There was a Colts fan sitting next to me. When Minshew came in that game, I was like, we're about to lose. Here comes Minshew mania. But he hasn't really panned out as I thought he would be better. I don't know. As far as that goes, their defense looks pretty good. But yeah, it was extremely tough game to I imagine it was extremely tough to stream. So hey, but we're used to that too, man. We've streamed some pretty bad offensive games. So, but at least you guys are 5-5 and you still got a foot in the door. So that's a positive thing.
That's why I say you guys have a foot in the door, and every game can count, and you can surprise yourself. But I don't know if you feel like it's the team that can actually do it. I want to go to Ruben real quick. Did you get a chance to watch that game? If so, what were your thoughts?
Well, I had to wake up very early to do it. But 10-6 is very boring. It takes me back to the days where I used to see Brian Hoyer, TJ Yates play football to the Houston Texans, those lower scoring games. But Indy is gonna hang in there, right? They've been known to do that throughout their entire existence. Anthony Richardson, when he played the Houston Texans, he did us dirty a little bit, man. We could not stop him on the ground. The Texans been, kind of not so good against mobile quarterbacks, but like Derek said earlier, man, Anthony Richardson's kind of scary.
Better than CJ Stroud.
Oh my
God. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the first 5 minutes of that game. I think Anthony Richardson would have put up a 5-burger on him had he been actually not had not his head hit the ground in a way that would have gave him a concussion. So
Wow. UCF, what's your thoughts on that game with the Patriots?
I mean, first of all, like I almost feel bad for Derek because look, I was like the biggest Gardner Minshew hater when he was on the Jaguars because he is so frustrating to watch and he is so incredibly overrated by everybody who doesn't watch him. Everyone's like looks at the box score, they're like, oh, this guy 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 73% completion percentage, just arbitrary numbers, but this guy's so good. But when you watch him, the guy is like afraid of like clean pockets. The guy makes every throw way harder than it needs to be. And he'll make a throw harder than it looks to be and actually make the throw. And it's like, oh my God, what a throw. I don't know. With the Colts, I feel bad for him because look, like this year, it's not about wins and losses. It was about developing Anthony Richardson. And Anthony Richardson, I think, only finished like 1 full game. So, at this moment, if I'm a Colts fan, like, do I really? I know it's Frank Reich, but do I really want to beat the Panthers? Do I want to win that game against the Patriots? For me, I'm I'm trying to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know.
I know. Listen, I'm not, and I've had to hear this from my own fan base for so many times. Listen, I'm all for in the business of winning football games. One really trash season was enough for me. I hated it. I hated it so much. I would rather win a lot of these meaningless games than what people will say and establish a culture inside that locker room that matters. I mean, UCF, you should understand this more than anyone because, I mean, ultimately, you guys got better with the roster, but what changed was your culture. You brought in better coaching, established a plan that's actually working and actually providing stability. And that's why y'all are so good now because even if you guys might be outmatched, you're still in these games because you guys have a plan. And that's what the Colts are doing right now. I mean, it's kind of ironic that the Colts offense is in the zone that it is now because in the first couple games that Gardner played in, like when he became the full-time starter, I mean, against Jacksonville, threw for over 300 yards. Against Cleveland, threw for over 300 yards. I mean, the dude had multiple touchdowns against Cleveland. He had 3 touchdowns against Cleveland. Cleveland's defense, which is the best defense in football right now. He looked a million times better against Cleveland than he has against Carolina and New England, which is where I've been texting UCF the whole time. And I'm like, dude, I hate this guy. I hate him so much. Why is he playing like this?
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he's frustrating.
Well, we're going to switch gears real quick because I want to run over to Ruben real quick because guys just came off of a nice victory over the Cardinals, 21-16. Can we get your quick reaction on that? Don't want to run out of time.
Well, it was crazy to see because this was the first time CJ Stroud struggled. It was 3 interceptions, all of them within the red zone. The Houston Texans were marching. But the biggest story was the defense really turned it on at the end, shut down Arizona. The first time all year, the defense won you the game. And, we want to carry that momentum overall to next week against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nice. What about you, UCF? Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it because the Jaguars game turned out to be a blowout, so I was kind of peeking down there. Yeah, I mean, the second half, it was like they weren't doing anything, but the Cardinals didn't want to do anything either. It was a weird game. They kept kind of exchanging turnovers, and CJ Stroud was kind of turning the ball over and scoring territory, which is kind of what the Jaguars was doing a little bit this year. But look, they beat a team with one of the worst records in the NFL. I don't know. I mean, they found a way to close it out, but the real game is this Sunday. They played a little bit sloppy, last week, but can they clean it up? Can CJ Stroud, is this going to hurt his confidence at all? This Sunday is the game for sure.
By the way, I didn't check. Is that a 1 o'clock?
Yeah, man. We did not get any prime time games this year. That is criminal.
Well, I think the league wish they would have knew what was going to happen now. All right, Titan Rossi, quick thoughts on the Cardinals beat down by the Texans.
Yeah, I mean it's good to see the Texans pull out a game like that. I mean, I'm curious to see how Stroud responds next week. I mean, this is the stakes are much higher at this point in the season. But yeah, I mean, good to see the Texans. You got to win games like that. I mean, even really good teams, sometimes take it down to the wire with crap teams. That's just the way it is in the NFL. So hopefully it's good to see them respond like that.
Nice. And Derek, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think what that showed, that game specifically, even in a bad situation for CJ, I think is the more impressive thing is that the defense of Houston actually showed up. I mean, that was, let's not forget, I mean, last week, I mean, the 2 weeks ago, the Cardinals introduced Kyler Murray back. They end up winning that game. Confidence is an all-time high for Arizona and what's going on. So, I mean, they had a lot of momentum going into that game. And, CJ Stroud, 3 turnovers, they lost a turnover battle. I mean, that had every recipe for the Texans to lose that game. And it just showed that the defense just was able to hold it down, do what they had to do. And that's something that the Texans have been desperately wanting to have, is a potential top 10 defense, which they kind of have in this moment. And then CJ Stroud does what he does best, cool under pressure, able to help deliver for some of the biggest moments, even if he was struggling throughout the game. So overall, I mean, it was a good win for the Texans in that regard.
And Will Anderson Jr. is about to turn it up. Got his 3rd sack.
Still overrated as a draft pick. I'm just
saying. No, sir. You're talking about a guy that played 900 snaps at Alabama, got to the reason why they called him the Terminator. And he's about to make y'all feel, he's about to hurt y'all for the next 10 years. I mean, also, shout out to Aiden Hutchinson balling out. Thank God the Jaguars took Trayvon Walker over him. But
yeah, how
hey,
you
don't
feel
sleep on
about
Trayvon.
that?
Trayvon's been balling the last 2 weeks.
Well, I got a good question for you guys. What will the final order of the AFC South be by the end of the season? I want to start out with you with Titan Rossi.
I obviously, I mean, I think the Titans are going to be last. I don't see them going on some magical run or anything. But Titans last. I think the Colts are going to be 3rd. Houston 2nd. I think the Jaguars are going to end up taking the conference this year. I just think that's where they're at. But I think the Texans are real close. I mean, the Colts are a quarterback away, I think. I mean, they're still 5-5. It's really up in the air, but that's my opinion on how it's going to pan out.
Ruben, your thoughts?
I'm going to go ahead and say at the bottom, the Tennessee Titans. At number 3, the Indianapolis Colts. At number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Houston Texans shocked the world like they've been doing all season, winning the AFC South. DeMeco Ryans win Coach of the Year. CJ Stroud, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Let's go.
I think you're really confident y'all going to win the division, Ruben.
Hey, I mean, when you see the way this season has been going, I mean, we've seen this in movies, right? A guy who was drafted by the team comes back to coach them when they're at their worst. They select a quarterback that wasn't number 1. He was number 2. Now he is having a season that no one has seen. The most passing yards in his first, couple of games. He beats Patrick Mahomes. He beats Justin Herbert. The most games without, an interception thrown. The legend of CJ continues to grow, and the confidence in him continues to grow. And I just want to see how H-Town is going to be on Sunday, because if it's rocking, it is going to be hard for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
UCF, final order of the division.
Look, I mean, Jags number 1, and does the rest even matter? I mean, I don't care what happens below us. We're all the way at the top. We're going to stay up here all by ourselves the rest of the way.
Well, it could matter if ultimately maybe you might have to face one of us in the playoffs at some point.
Look, the Texans, their run is cute, and look, I like it. Like, shout to them. But look, they haven't arrived yet. Look, they might get into the wild card. They might even win a wild card game. Who knows? But the Jaguars, this is our division. We got the better quarterback, the better head coach. We're more seasoned. We got the better overall roster. 2024 is supposed to be the Texans' year, so we're going to revisit this in 2024. Then we're going to let the Texans maybe get another shot at it.
Man, Sunday is going to be interesting. Derek, your final your final record prediction in order.
Rossi, I'm sorry, man. Y'all are finishing last. It's okay.
I mean,
UCF,
I agree.
I agree with you. I said it before. I think y'all are going to beat Houston. And then by that time, even if like Houston or me or someone else ends up winning a couple more division games, I don't think it really is going to end up mattering too much from that. But Ruben, man, listen, I know the Colts are coming for you. And they're coming for Houston. And it's all going to come down to that week 17 match or that week 18 matchup between the Houston Texans and Indianapolis in Indy. Is going to be fighting for that playoff spot. And the Colts are making it to second in the division. And we are taking a playoff spot from y'all.
Dude, we're going to do you dirty. It's not going to be funny.
It from y'all,
it's not going to be funny, bro.
CJ's
going to wear his church clothes to Indianapolis.
All right?
No, sir.
So I'm sorry, Derek. Derek just entered the conversation because I should have asked this earlier. So you got the Colts truly going to the playoffs and knocking the Texans out?
They got a good shot at it. I mean, we are
smoking
facing
that stuff, Derek.
The great thing is most of the teams that are fighting for wild card spots at this point, we have to face everyone going forward. So we face the Steelers who are having issues at quarterback. We have to face Houston one more time at the end of the season. There's a lot of games here. Indy only has to play one team two teams left that have a winning record, and that's the Steelers and that's the Texans. So, big games, yes, but Indy has a lot of favorable matchups. They are going to be in a situation. They are hungry for it. That the fight in the locker room is not gone. And I'm telling you right now, they are going to squeak into that number 7 spot.
Man,
I mean, let's talk about the rest of our schedule, right? We got Titans twice, dear God. We're going to sweep Jacksonville on Sunday against the Broncos, against the Jets, and then week 16 at home against the Browns without Massage Watson. I mean, I am loving my rest of the schedule.
And Titans, Rossi, when your Titans inevitably beat his team one time, I will sing you $10.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's one game.
Because y'all's team should not beat the Texans, but they will one time. I don't know how they'll do it, but they will. We know one thing's for certain: the Texans never fare well against Derrick Henry. Recent history has shown that Derrick Henry going to pop
Derrick
off
Henry's
for like
washed. Oh my God. Boy. 3 yards a carry. I could get you 3 yards a carry.
We'll see.
This is insane.
We'll see in those Oilers jerseys when he's running all over y'all.
Dude, you guys are gonna look so dumb when we smack you, dude. And I pray,
and y'all are gonna keep whining about the Oilers jerseys and all that.
As humble as CJ Stroud is, I hope after he scores a touchdown, he runs into the middle of that field and places the ball on that Titans logo because it's H-Town till we drown over here.
Going off his best T.O. impression, baby. Let's go.
I hope he does too.
UCF, quick question for you, man. Since you feel like you're gonna win a division, I gotta ask you from an inside the Jags world thought process. How far can the Jags go this season?
Oh, I mean, look, as long as Trevor Lawrence is playing Trevor Lawrence football. Look, the Jaguars have a better record than last year. If we can stay healthy, dude, we can go. What's stopping us from going all the way? Like seriously, what's stopping? I mean, you look
Super
at the
Bowl.
You look at you look at the AFC right now. Who in the AFC feels really good about themselves right now? Everybody has their struggles. Look, whoever is playing the best football, and like when the Jaguars were, playing a little bit sloppy in September and October, and we're getting wins, I was like, look, I'm okay with it. Just get wins because the best team in September doesn't win the Super Bowl. The best team in January into February is a team that wins the Super Bowl. So, the Jaguars come out and play like they did last Sunday. Keep that going. The Jaguars are playing good at the end of each season. Dude, we're going to be all right. We're going to be able to make a run. We're fighting for that number 1 seed. The Chiefs just lost last night. The Jaguars have the same record as the Kansas City Chiefs, playing a bunch of backup quarterbacks the rest of the year. We're going to be all right.
As much as I hate to say it, I agree. The Ravens are your best or your only real obstacle to being your way. Honestly, the Dolphins suck against decent teams. Everyone else below it wouldn't beat you guys. I mean, the Chiefs look like, hot garbage whenever Taylor Swift's not in the stadium. So, outside of Baltimore, it's really the only competition you guys really got right now.
So would they just dismiss the Browns?
I mean, the Browns are playing a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they've been
like,
winning with the backup quarterback the whole
Yeah, they scored,
season.
what,
I mean, the
13
Colts
points?
should have beaten the Browns, but we got cheated out of that one. I know that everyone else on the panel can say what they want to say, but I'm gonna say it all the time. The NFL definitely cheated us out of that game. They admitted it. All right, their officials made the wrong calls. It's all good. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're right. The Browns, as great as their defense is, their offense is very, very limited right now, and that's their biggest Achilles heel.
Yeah, and I mean, look, in the playoffs, look, any game you can lose a bag of quarterback, but in the playoffs, unless you're like Doug Peterson with Nick Foles, obviously that happened, but that was such an outlier when it comes to the final four quarterbacks that year were Blake Bortles, Case Keenum, Tom Brady, and Nick Foles. I mean, someone was going to win it. Look, the good elite franchise quarterbacks are the teams that, go out there and go to the Super Bowls and win it. And look, Trevor Lawrence in his third year, like, yeah, his stats aren't eye-popping, but he's been winning some games. Last game, he accounted for 4 touchdowns. He's got all his weapons back. Nothing is stopping the Jaguars right now. Nothing. The only thing that can stop the Jaguars are themselves and maybe the Chiefs and Arrowhead. That's why we got to get the one seed so we don't have to go there.
CJ Stroud.
Oh man, this Sunday is going down. Real quick, we had some breaking news in the division earlier. I want to get you guys' thoughts. All pro linebacker, Shaquille Leonard on waivers now. I'll start with you, Derek. This is a shocker, and well, I guess some people aren't shocked. But what's your thoughts on it? And for all of you guys, are any of your teams interested when we come to you?
Yeah, I kind of was talking with UCF about it in the beginning. Shocked at that it happened, not as much. Shocked at the timing. Yeah, I mean, it definitely shocked me that it happened now. I would have figured they would have at least kept him throughout the year. But the problem you had was he had been losing snaps all season. He's not getting the snaps that he feels he deserves. And for good reason. He's not playing at a level that he should be. And, you're at a situation where he's upset. You're upset that he's not quite what he once was. It felt like a situation just to cut ties one way or the other. And it sucks too, because I have this dude's jersey. I mean, I've spoken to him before. I mean, talk about one of the greatest dudes I've ever met. And it's sucks because I'm talking about a guy that in his first 4 seasons, he was putting up numbers that even the all-time great linebackers were not putting up. I mean, you talk about Ray Lewis, you talk about Brian Urlacher, you talk about some of the GOATs of the NFL. I mean, tackles-wise, he was right with them, but he was forcing turnovers at a rate that they could never touch. And that was what was so unique about this guy. And it really sucks that injuries have gotten to this point. But if you're Indy, you look at it now and you say, Zaire Franklin, he's leading the NFL in tackles, so you don't feel worried about the tackle production lost. EJ Speed is a great cover linebacker, and he's fit the role really well. I mean, he's a bigger Shaq Leonard out there. So, it sucks, and you save a lot of money from releasing him. So, that's great for cap space next year when you want to go and, do more things. But there will always be a place in my heart for Shaq Leonard. One of the biggest what if stories in Indianapolis Colts history is Shaq Leonard.
Wow. Any of you guys teams feel like they may be interested in pick them up off waivers with that cap hit?
No, we got enough invested in linebacker. We invested a first-round pick in Devin Lloyd last year, really good inside linebacker. Foye Oluokun, top 5 in the NFL in tackles, playing like an absolute beast on our defense. No interest over here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it for the Houston Texans. We've had some injuries with rookie Henry TuaTuo, veteran linebacker Denzel Perryman. So, I mean, adding in the maniac would be crazy. And if there is anyone that can get him right, it is head coach DeMeco Ryans, who has his way with linebackers. But I was very surprised, when this happened. I checked my phone and I had to double check it. But if the Houston Texans go after him, I would definitely be excited. Another veteran for the defense. And like Darius said, man, just a great guy. I saw that he was still giving out turkeys, to families in Indy. So that is, great to see. But Give me that in Houston. That revenge game is going to be crazy in Indy. I'm going to tell you that.
All right, well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to run out of time. So I just want to ask these last few things really quick so that we can fit them in. The Colts play the Bucks this week. If you can give me your quick thoughts and your score prediction, start with the UCF Jags.
Yeah, I guess for this one, it's going to be pretty high scoring. I'll say 28-21. I'll give it to the Colts because the Bucks can't get out of their own way.
6 wins, Colts. Okay, Ruben.
I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Colts also. I am pushing a Mike Evans to Houston agenda in the offseason, and I need that team to just implode. I'm going to root for the Colts this week.
Wow. And Titan Rossi?
I'm going to go with the Colts on this one.
And score prediction?
I'll say 27-17 Colts.
And Ruben, what was your score prediction? Sorry.
I'll go 24-17.
All right, and Derek, tell me what we need to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Colts coming off the bye. Couldn't have happened at a better time. Ultimately, it's just going to depend on, the health of this team. We might be getting a couple guys back that are very pivotal for this team. I mean, obviously, like UCF said, I mean, the Buccaneers are they're the Buccaneers. I mean, they get in their own way a lot of times. They should be a better team than what they are, but they're not. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, actually. I probably would go with a score of 20-17, and I'll go Indy on that one.
All right, 6 wins, Indy. They are a little threat. Okay. Well, real quick, Titan Rossi, I gotta ask this before we get out of here. Do you think the Titans gonna release Ryan Tannehill?
I think they're gonna release him when I don't think they're going to release him. I think they're just not going to re-sign him. Because honestly, there's a chance. I mean, Levis has been kind of banged up, and the way that he's been getting just plastered every single game, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets hurt at some point. And I think the Titans are going to have to turn back to Ryan Tannehill at some point for a game or two. That's just how bad the offensive line is. Unfortunately, that's where we're at.
All right. Well, last one for the night, gentlemen. We got a huge matchup coming at home for the Tennessee Titans. It is the first round pick bowl, the draft bowl versus the Carolina Panthers of UCF Jaguar. Who wins this game? And what's your score prediction?
This one is going to be exciting. I'll tell you this. I don't know many teams I'm going to pick the Panthers to beat. And I don't know how many teams I'm going to pick the Titans to beat at this point. I don't know.
Do it, man.
One, golly. I mean, you know what? Give me the Titans. I don't know. The Panthers are just so bad this year. And I don't know why Frank Reich gets another head coaching job. I mean, he is just such a perfect offensive coordinator because he's such a player's coach. He runs such a country club. I don't know. I don't think the guy's a head coach. And Bryce Young is kind of struggling, but it's going to be a good opportunity for him to potentially get another win. But golly, they're so bad. So give me the Titans, I suppose. And I'll say Titans win 13-10.
13-10. Ruben, your thoughts?
I need Tennessee to mop Carolina. I am sick of the Panthers fans, right? We've been going at it since it was Bryce Young #1 overall, CJ Stroud #2. I am so sick of them saying that, that if CJ Stroud is put in their situation, he will be bad, if not worse than CJ Stroud. Please kill the Carolina Panthers on Sunday.
Score prediction.
Let me go ahead and go 24-14.
All right, Derek.
I think from a personnel standpoint that there's just a few guys on the Tennessee Titans that help dominate the game just a little bit more than Carolina. And, that's Simmons and Derrick Henry. I know that things have not been great for this team, but that's two guys that, can take over the game at any given notice. And we've seen how bad Carolina has been at stopping the run and protecting against defenses like that. So I'm going to go with y'all to win this one. And Frank Reich's seat is real hot. It's about to be on fire after this game. I'll go 21-14.
21-14. Titan Rossi, talk to us about this game.
All right, so the Titans are going to win 2 more games this season. All right, one's going to be against Carolina, and the next one's going to be against the Texans at home in the Oiler throwbacks. But I just had to throw that in there. But no, I think it's going to be one of the, like I said, one of the 2 games we win. I don't know if it's going to be against the Texans, the other game, but I do think this is going to be one of the 2 games we're going to win out for the rest of the season. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a good game. I think the Titans are going to kind of bounce back a little bit this week. It's at home. They've only had 3 real home games this year because the London game was considered one of our home games, even though it's really an away game. So they're 3-0 at home. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to be energized by the crowd a bit. I think Henry's going to have over 100 yards. I'm going to say the Titans 20. I'm still only going to give them 20 points, 20 to 13.
2013 Titans win unanimous. All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The very first episode of the AFC South Roundtable. Before we get out of here real quick, UCF Jaguar, let everybody know where they can find you individually.
Yeah, guys, appreciate everyone for being here in the inaugural stream here on the AFC South Roundtable, man. Steady 150 people in here at a time. And look, over half of y'all are Jags fans in here, man. You guys got to get your fan base in here. Our Jaguars represented, but appreciate you guys for being here, man. I'm UCF Jaguar. I believe you can maybe find me in the description box down below, but, if you type in UCF, maybe I'm the first Jaguar that comes up. So, search me up on there. Subscribe to my channel and subscribe to all the other guys on this panel as well.
Nice. Ruben, let them know.
Guys, thank you so much for watching today. It was so much fun. Just type in 713 Houston Sports in the search bar on YouTube. It will pop up. This was a fantastic first episode. Shout out to everyone else. Good luck this week, except for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. Titan Rossi, let them know.
Yeah, man, follow our network, the Titan Upload Network. We're one of the biggest Titans, content channels out there on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter too at Titans Rossi. And man, this has been an awesome show. I think we've gained over 100 subs just during the show alone.
I noticed that.
Fantastic. Hats off to the chat. Hopefully some Titans fans will come in here next week after we get a win. That would be nice. You know what I mean? So anyways, appreciate all of y'all.
Thank you so much. And Derek Larger, man, appreciate you being here. Talk to us, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, once again, thank you everyone that did tune in. I saw a couple of my Colts fandom representing. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody else that was in there tuning in with us. You be sure to follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Derek_Larger. You can follow the podcast on there as well at BTJ Pod. Follow us on YouTube. Bring the juice. Be sure to follow and subscribe on there. We do a bunch of content over there. And again, thank you to everybody on this panel for being here today. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And make sure you don't forget to follow all of these gentlemen and their respective platforms. Make sure you go subscribe to all of them. Also, make sure that you subscribe to Roundtable Sports. And this show was brought to you by Roundtable Sports. This is the AFC South Roundtable here with Roundtable Sports. And we thank you all for tuning in. If you came late, make sure you go watch the show. Let your friends and family members know about the channel as well. Next week, we will be right back here to feel. We got some questions to answer, gentlemen. Houston Texans, will they get it done? Will the UCF Jaguars, I'm calling you the team, will the Jaguars led by UCF Jags get it done? Will the Titans have a better draft pick or get some more respect to their name? And the Colts, will they get their 6th win? Because they are right there behind Houston. A lot at stake, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, we will be live here at 7 p.m. on the AFC South Roundtable. Love you all. See you soon. Peace. We are out.